Have you ever stopped to think about why we treat being exhausted like it's some kind of medal? Like, why is being completely wiped out at the end of the day seen as a win? Well, today, we're going to look at a culture that thinks completely differently about all of this.
So check this out. It's this crazy paradox, right? On one side, you've got the hustle culture that we're all so familiar with. Late nights, constant emails, you know the drill. But then you have the Swedish way. People leaving work at 4 p.m. is normal. And here's the kicker. They're one of the most prosperous, successful nations on the planet. So what in the world is their secret?
And all that pressure, it leads right to what I'm calling the exhaustion paradox. This endless push to do more, be more, work more. It's just burning us all out. But what if I told you the real path to being more productive and, honestly, happier isn't about grinding harder? What if it's a totally different philosophy?
I mean, just think about this for a second. In Sweden, there's no word for hustle. It doesn't even exist in their vocabulary. This isn't just about a different work schedule. We're talking about a completely different mindset. They literally see chronic stress not as something you just have to deal with to get ahead, but as an actual disease you should avoid.
Okay, so to really get how this all works in the real world, let's imagine two different employees. It's kind of like a tale of two clashing philosophies of work.
All right, first up, we've got the hustle worker. And you definitely know this person, right? Their entire day is just this frantic sprint, completely fueled by energy drinks and a constant fear that they're not doing enough. The biggest nightmare for them? Not being busy.
And then there's the Lagom worker. Their whole approach is the polar opposite. For them, work is a marathon, not a sprint. The goal isn't to be totally fried by Tuesday afternoon. Nope. It's all about keeping a steady, effective pace through the whole week. It's about efficiency, not looking like you're working hard.
So how do they actually pull this off? Well, the very first clue to their secret is hiding in this simple but unbelievably powerful national ritual. And yeah, it might seem a little weird to us, but trust me, it's a huge part of their success.
It's called Fika. Now, this is not just grabbing a quick coffee at your desk. No way. This is a scheduled, mandatory break in the day. I'm talking everyone, from the CEO all the way down to the interns. They stop what they're doing to just connect and recharge. It's seen as a crucial tool for hitting the reset button on your brain, not some lazy distraction from real work.
Okay, but here's the really wild part. What happens after the break? Just look at this chart. You'd think stopping everything would just kill your momentum, right? But the data shows the complete opposite. All kinds of studies and workplace reports show that after Fika, productivity and creativity actually shoot up. It's the perfect example of slowing down to speed up.
So, what this all points to is a massive shift in how we think. We've been taught our whole lives that rest is the enemy of work, something you only get after you're totally spent. But the Swedish model shows us that planned rest isn't the opposite of work at all. It's a critical, strategic part of it.
But Fika is really just the tip of the iceberg. It's the daily habit that comes from a much deeper, more powerful philosophy that shapes almost everything in Swedish life. And this, right here, is the core secret.
The word is lagom, and there's no perfect English translation, but the closest we can get is just the right amount. Not too little, not too much. It's this art of finding the perfect, sustainable balance in, well, everything.
And this leads to a piece of advice that to our ears sounds absolutely nuts. Don't do your best, do just enough. I know. That probably sounds like a recipe for being a slacker, but hang with me, it's not what you think.
So, what does doing just enough really mean? It's not about being lazy. Not at all. It's about being strategic. It means you focus on the tasks that actually matter, the ones that move the needle. It means you save some energy for tomorrow instead of burning yourself out today. It's about dropping that soul-crushing perfectionism that leads to burnout. And it's about valuing consistency over these crazy, intense bursts of work. It's about finding real happiness in a job that's good enough, not a job that's been done to death.
So once you really get these ideas, you can start to redefine what success even looks like. It's not about how tired you are. It's about how effectively and sustainably you can show up day after day.
And this slide, it just lays out the journey perfectly. Step 1 is just admitting that the whole hustle thing leads to burnout. Step 2 is putting a ritual into practice, something like Fika, that intentional, mandatory break. And finally, step 3 is to really embrace the philosophy of Lagom, finding that sweet spot, that just right amount.
At the end of the day, this whole thing isn't really about finding a way to work less. It's about finding a way to live more.
It's about designing a work life that actually fuels the rest of your life, instead of just sucking it dry.
So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. What could you really achieve if you stopped aiming for burnout and instead just aimed for enough? What could you sustain? What could you build? I think the answer might really surprise you.